All right, let's dive in. Today, we're basically distilling centuries of Machiavellian wisdom into a quick guide on the unwritten rules of power. Think of it like a strategic map for climbing through the world of influence. Ready? Let's start the ascent.
So the very first thing you have to get your head around is that power is never ever static. It's not a destination. It's this fluid, constantly shifting landscape. The thing that gets you to the top one day can absolutely bury you the next. There's no summit where you can just relax, because the game is never ever over.
And that's the big question, isn't it? If the board is always changing and the players are always moving, what are the core principles that let you not just play but actually win? That's exactly what we're here to break down.
Okay, to even get started, you have to accept a really fundamental truth. The powerful just don't play by the same social rules as everybody else. For them, relationships are all about a different kind of logic. It's transactional, it's strategic, and honestly, it's way less sentimental.
This quote right here, it just nails it. It gets right to the heart of the matter. Every connection you make either boosts your position or it lowers it. Every single interaction is an exchange, and understanding that's the first step to really speaking power's unspoken language.
So what this really boils down to is a total mindset shift. See, most people, they approach the powerful hoping to be liked, which just screams neediness. The strategic way, the Machiavellian way, is to be useful. You don't show up with your hand out like a beggar asking for a favor. No, you show up as the answer to a problem they have, maybe one they don't even know they have yet. That's how you completely change the game.
Okay, so how do you actually do this? How do you put it into practice? Well, it all starts with phase one, building your value. Before you even think about making a move, you have to build a solid foundation. This is the quiet part, the observation stage, where all the real work gets done.
And look, this isn't random. It's a methodical process. First, you just study the terrain. You watch. Who do they listen to? What do they really care about? Underneath it all, what are their hidden insecurities? You're basically a diagnostician. And only after you figure out what they truly need can you position yourself as the unique solution.
The tactics in this phase are all about contrast, a kind of double game. You blend into their world, not by copying them, that's weak, but by matching their rhythm, their values. You never, ever show all your cards. A little mystery is incredibly compelling. You mask your ambition behind this calm, patient exterior. But the second an opportunity appears, you move with absolute fierce precision. That duality, it shows you get the game.
So, your value is established, your foundation is solid. Now you enter the active phase of the climb. This is when you start to interact, and this is where managing perceptions and making subtle moves becomes absolutely critical.
And here we go. We've come to one of the most important and honestly one of the most dangerous rules in the entire playbook. Just think about it for a second. To someone at the very top, who is the biggest threat?
That's right. The biggest threat is the one who even looks like they could be a rival. So, a cardinal rule: never, ever let your ambition outshine theirs. Power has a very fragile ego. The second you seem like a threat, you'll get crushed. And not because you are a threat, but because you made them feel insecure. The real art is hiding your strength behind deference.
You know, this applies to everything, even something as simple as giving a compliment. Empty flattery, it's useless. They hear it all day long. But strategic praise, now that is a powerful tool. So instead of just saying, "You're brilliant," you say something specific, like, "Your timing on that was exact." See the difference? It shows you don't just admire them, you understand them. You're reinforcing the exact qualities they see in themselves.
This phase is also about playing the whole field, not just looking up. You have to build alliances sideways with the gatekeepers, the advisors, the people who really control access. And when someone helps you, don't just say thank you. That's temporary. Return the value later on. Turn that one transaction into a long-term bond. And finally, learn how to say no quietly. Total submission gets you contempt, but showing you have a spine, that earns respect.
Okay, so you've made the climb. You're up there. But like we said at the start, there's no final position. You've just reached the most advanced phase, mastering the summit. This is all about how you hold on to your influence and navigate the totally new dangers that come with being at the top.
At this level, the whole game becomes emotional, and your greatest asset is something we'll call emotional supremacy. It's that ability to stay completely calm and unreadable, especially when people are trying to provoke you or test you. A calm smile can be way more terrifying than an angry outburst.
At this stage, your influence isn't about what you do anymore. It's about who you are.
Power is drawn to emotional stillness. You know, the loudest person in the room might get attention for a minute, but it's the quietest, most composed presence that truly commands respect. Your stillness becomes its own kind of authority.
So the strategies up here are, well, they're next level. You learn to control your visibility. Being seen too often makes you ordinary. Strategic absence makes you a legend. You have to disarm the envy that's going to come your way, so you attribute your wins to luck or good mentors. You connect with people deeply, but you never become emotionally dependent. And you learn to use humor, not to be the clown, but to strategically erase the hierarchy for a moment and signal that you are truly an equal.
And this all leads to the final and maybe the most profound paradox of power. The ultimate power move isn't clinging to your position for dear life. It's demonstrating that you could walk away from it all at any moment, because the less you need them, the more they want you close.
This right here, this is the end game. Power is a cycle, and people who cling to it for too long, they always get swept away when the tides change. True mastery is knowing when it's time to retreat. Disappearing at your absolute peak preserves your influence forever. It turns your story into a legend.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've mapped out the entire journey, the climb, the ascent, the mastery. But if the game really never ends, if every single position is just temporary, then maybe the whole idea of arriving at the top is the greatest illusion of them all. Something to think about.